Are you ready? Are you excited? Me personally, I cannot contain my excitement. I have been waiting on this for months now. I feel like that geek in high school who finally got a date with the cheerleader for senior prom. The anticipation is building. This will be the day that I finally lose my virginity. Now, of course, once prom night arrives, the geek realizes the cheerleader has no intention of sleeping with him. The geek, he is simply the placeholder. He is being used as her pretend date. Once the cheerleader arrives at the prom, she dumps the geek so she can be with her real boyfriend, Paul Perv, the 23-year-old loser struggling to let go of his high school glory days. The geek is disappointed, feelings of abject failure, the realization that you will walk across that stage at graduation. They'll hand him a nice diploma along with his pristine V card. Those feelings the super nerd feels on prom night are the same feelings that normal people feel at the start of the WNBA regular season. For months, ESPN and the mainstream media, they have spent their time hyping the WNBA regular season. Come join us on May 5th as we embark on another season of embarrassing failure. Diana Taurasi has spent the entire offseason inventing new ways to airball dunks. The Sue Bird has left the nest, beginning retirement, married to Megan Rapinoe, the prepubescent boy. This leaves a gigantic void in the WNBA dump. Who will be the next star dump diver? Who will earn their right to use the golden toilet? Will it be Chin Agwumike? Will it be Candace Parker? There's only one thing guaranteed. Whoever becomes the next face of waste management will be unknown to most of the American population. Come join us on ESPN for another exciting season of trash collecting. Oh, I know you guys are pumped. Friday night, the WNBA preseason officially begins, with the regular season tipping off in 2 weeks. Now, historically, the WNBA is largely ignored going into the regular season. I mean, the mainstream media pays attention. ESPN likes to pretend we're on the verge of witnessing greatness. They show these highly produced commercials showing the rare times a dump diver actually makes a shot. These nice little scenes of dump divers scouring the neighborhood in their swim trunks looking for fresh garbage. One man's trash is a dump diver's treasure. But for most normal people, the WNBA, it's not even an afterthought. It's a never was. However, there is a different feel going into the 2023 WNBA season. For the first time, there are people who actually believe this is going to be the season the WNBA finally succeeds. This will be the season the dump finally generates enough revenue to give each employee a peso instead of an invoice. The media actually believes they have a legitimate reason for this illogical thinking. For the first time in the history of the league, they believe they have a mainstream transcendental superstar, someone who will captivate the non-existent audience, someone who will convince people that pretend basketball is entertaining. Now, before we get into that special someone, let's get to the sponsor for today's video, my friends over at First National Bullion. Have you guys noticed prices at the grocery store lately? Now, I haven't personally since I'm clueless when it comes to grocery shopping, but I see the bill. I listen to my girlfriend complain every time she gets home from the grocery store. No matter what the experts say, inflation is through the roof. There is so much uncertainty right now surrounding the dollar. Countries like China, Russia, they're starting to trade in their own currencies. What does that mean for the US dollar? If history's a guide, it ain't good. Doesn't matter how much money you have, rising inflation can make your dollar worthless. Luckily, there is a perfect hedge against inflation available to us. Gold and silver. My friend Mark Gonzalez over at First National Bullion, he has plenty of both in stock. Unlike other companies who exchange your paper dollars for a nice piece of paper in return, First National Bullion has the real deal, physical precious metals in stock that will be delivered right to you. Mark can even help you put gold and silver into your individual retirement account. When you invest with First National Bullion, they send you actual gold, actual silver. They have been in business for 16 years, and my friend Mark Gonzalez, he is an expert when it comes to protecting your hard-earned money. Reach out to Mark today by clicking the link in the description below, and he will give you a call personally to help you protect yourself against the decline of the dollar and rising inflation. Okay, I am sure you're wondering, KC, who is this secret star in the WNBA? Is Zion Williamson entering the dump to complete his off-season rehab? No, no, no. Although, that would be one way to guarantee success. People actually watch Zion Williamson. But the WNBA, they have a better strategy. This season, they will be exploiting the star power of the one and only Bob Griner. Oh, Bobby G. Not to be confused with Bobby Brown, someone who possesses actual talent. Talent is not allowed in the WNBA. This is a league that prides itself on the exploitation of wanker spanking. Earlier this week, Bob Griner gave her first press conference of the season. KC, why are you using she, her pronouns? Didn't we already go over this with Dylan Mulvaney? Don't bend the knee to the shitfucks by using proper pronouns. Believe it or not, I'm not. I know this is hard to believe. Bob is a biological woman. Just because she looks and sounds like a man doesn't mean she has a cucumber. Bobby's cucumber has to be purchased. Now, this press conference, it caused a lot of excitement throughout the WNBA. Oh my God, there's more than one person from the media at this press conference. We just achieved another first. For the first time in league history, 500 media members volunteered to collect garbage. This is true. Over 500 so-called journalists wasted an entire afternoon listening to the toxic mouth farts of Brittney Griner. And believe me when I tell you, the farts were strong with this one. The aroma rivaled the daily toxicity that escapes the orifices of Sun Hostin and the whoopee cushion on The View. If the WNBA thought Brittney Griner was going to be the savior of this league, those hopes were immediately dashed at this press conference. Now sure, there were plenty of woke boner words spoken, dozens of wanker spankers were able to reach climax, but if the goal was to appeal to normal people, this press conference can only be described as a huge embarrassing failure. Bobby G started with a classic woke issue, the mythical gender pay gap between the NBA and the WNBA. Some undergrad student at Woke U asked the BG why dump divers travel overseas during the off-season to compete in real basketball when they could be spending those months resting after a grueling season of pretend basketball. Bobby G had plenty of time to contemplate this important issue while spending 10 months enjoying the extravagant accommodations in Mother Russia. She used that time wisely to come up with a brilliant response. Watch for yourself.
I'll say this, the whole reason a lot of us go over, is the pay gap. A lot of us go over there to make an income to support our families, to support ourselves. So I don't knock any player that wants to go overseas and, make a little bit extra money. I'm hoping that our league continues to grow, and with as many people in here right now covering this, I hope you continue, like I said, to cover our league, bring exposure to us. I hope a lot of these companies start to invest in our craft, because as you'll see this season, if you haven't watched before, we have a really good craft in ourselves in the WNBA. And it's a shame that we have to leave our families for holidays. I mean, you're missing everything being away. But at the same time, as much as I would love to, pay my light bill for the love of the game, I can't.
What the hell kind of question is that? Is playing overseas a need or a want? It's obviously a want. There is no need to play overseas. Do I really need to explain the difference between a need and a want? You need water, you need food, you need shelter. All of these needs are provided at the WNBA dump. You know how much food is collected on those daily trash runs? The only reason WNBA players travel overseas is the desire to make more money. But KC, this is unfair! They have the right to be paid a livable wage here in America! They are paid a livable wage. Average salary for a WNBA dump diver is over $147,000 a year. But KC, that's middle class income. These are world class athletes. These women are extraordinary. Show me an NBA player who has the ability to consistently fall down while dribbling. WNBA players deserve to be paid millions. Actually, if you want to pay them what they deserve, they should be paying the WNBA for the right to play. The WNBA has never turned a profit. Even with the millions of dollars donated by sympathetic woke corporations over the last 2 years, the WNBA has still managed to find a way not to make money. One of the reasons for that is the players are overpaid. Patrick Mahomes, he earns every penny of the $500 million the Kansas City Guardians are paying him because Patrick Mahomes generates billions of dollars every year for the NFL. If the WNBA paid Brittney Griner based on her value, she would only receive free room and board. Now, Brittney Griner is claiming that she struggles to pay her light bill on her WNBA salary. That is the epitome of insanity. She is just looking for sympathy. She's looking for more woke welfare. If you're making almost $200,000 a year and you're struggling to pay basic utilities, you don't need to be speaking to shitfuck media members at a press conference. You need to be speaking to a financial advisor. Now, you knew we couldn't have a WNBA press conference without someone from the media bringing up the most important issue in this country, the rights of Trans Dan to play sports against the gender he chooses to identify with. I mean, I guess this kind of makes sense. If you base this off of physical appearance, you would think a lot of these dump divers put the T in LGBT. Bobby Griner was asked her thoughts on the rights of identifiers to compete against the gender they choose to identify with. Now take a guess, take a wild guess as to which mainstream media outlet asked this question. USA Today. No, that's a great guess though, great guess. The Star Trek Virgin. He is a known crusader for transgender rights. Lately, he has been begging Captain Kirk to identify as a woman so he can brag to all his friends about losing his virginity to a woke woman. Brittney Griner was actually asked this question by Bill Rhoden from ESPN. Now, I want to bring something to your attention before I play this clip. Bill Rhoden is a veteran member of the mainstream media. He has spent the last 50 years around star athletes. And you would think Bill Rhoden is comfortable around star players. With Brittney Griner being a star pretender, Bill Rhoden should have no problem asking his question, right? Listen to this dude as he pathetically worships at the feet of his deity, Bobby G. Roll the film.
Brittney, I'm Bill Rhoden from ESPN Anscape. It's really great to see you. It's good to know the prayers have been answered. The question, you've always represented so much throughout your entire career about access and, being able to do stuff. And I hate to put one more thing on your plate, but there are a number of states who are aggressively moving to prevent transgender athletes playing. And I was wondering, again, I hate to put one more thing on your plate, but in terms of on your radar, where is that? You're going to have a tremendous platform, but where is that going to be on your radar in terms of advocating for athletes, all athletes, transgender athletes, to be able to play?
Oh, I mean that ranks high on the list of things that I'll be fighting for and speaking up against. Everyone deserves the right to play. Everyone deserves the right to come here, sit in these seats, and feel safe and not feel like there's a threat or they can't be who they are or like it's just all eyes on them. I think it's a crime, honestly, to separate someone for any reason.
ESPN is such filth. What the hell does transgender rights have to do with pretend basketball? Once again, ESPN is using a platform to push this twisted narrative. If the WNBA was hoping the name recognition of Brittney Griner, the immaculate return, if they were hoping that was going to appeal normal people to the dump, all hopes were destroyed with that one answer. Brittney Griner thinks it should be a crime to force kids to compete against their biological gender. I would assume she also has something in common with Bob Dylan Mulvaney, besides, of course, the same first name. I would assume Bobby G supports the addendum to the woke commandments, making it illegal for confused normal people to use improper pronouns. Now, there is legitimate hope throughout the WNBA that the return of Brittney Griner is going to save the dump. It gives me pleasure to be the bearer of bad news. Brittney Griner ain't saving the WNBA. There is nothing that can save the WNBA. Do I think Brittney Griner's return pops a decent rating on her first night back? Sure. I am sure some people will tune in just out of curiosity. But like I say all the time, it's easy to hype up one event and pop a decent rating. But can you do it consistently? Can you maintain that momentum throughout the regular season? When it comes to the WNBA, the answer is no. And the answer is no because the product on the court absolutely sucks. But KC, America was captivated by women's college basketball this year. No, that's not true. America was captivated by the later rounds of the women's tournament. Ratings for the first round were abysmal. Ratings for the regular season, god-awful. America was enamored with Caitlin Clark. They had one star carry the entire tournament. People followed Caitlin Clark through the tournament because the product on the court was actually decent. The WNBA, they don't have that luxury. Unless something drastically changed this offseason, the basketball in the WNBA is dreadful. There's only so many times you can airball free throws before it stops being entertaining. I will say the same thing about Brittney Griner that I say about Dylan Mulvaney. Brittney Griner and the WNBA in general, it's a gimmick. Brittney Griner's not famous for pretend basketball. Before Vlad gave her a complimentary vacation, most people had never heard of Brittney Griner. Once the curiosity, once the novelty wears off, it will be back to business as usual in the WNBA. Sparsely attended games, one or two media members at press conferences, and recycled programs being used as toilet paper by the dump divers. But give me your thoughts. Will Brittney Griner save the WNBA? Let me know what you think about her response to transgender rights in sports. Sound off in the comments below. Make sure to like and subscribe. Click the notification bell to receive all notifications from the channel. Best way to contact me is by email at btlkc84@gmail.com, KC_BTL84 on Twitter. I'll see you guys tomorrow.